back today because, hold on, this morning, we got our workout in, we got our shake going, and then, our new church we started going to, they actually start at 12:15, which is awesome, because I can have my morning, and then get ready and go to church. But what I wanted to talk to you about today is something the pastor said. Everything that he spoke about today really spoke to me in the line of, in the line of this journey and my journey that I've been going through. So the first thing that I wanted to talk to you, because our series right now is what to do when you don't know what to do. And he just kind of talked about different ways that we hear God. But this is what I wanted to talk to you guys about today. Is he said, he was talking about 6 different tests. And the one that he talked about was the complexity test. And he was like, what happens is we start getting so wrapped up in what the future holds. And that really spoke to me. And when we get so wrapped up in this overwhelming amount of weight that we have to lose, or this overwhelming amount of long journey, like, because, you know, even for me sometimes when I think like, this is no longer, because I think that it's easier for us in our minds to say, I'm doing this diet for this amount of time, because then you know that it eventually has an end date. But realistically, it's the way that we live our lives, and it is not just this section part that we're going to lose this weight, and after we lose the weight, we're going to feel great, and we're not going to have to worry about it ever again. No, we have to then go into this maintenance level of things. And that's where I wanted to go into this, because, you know, we get so absolutely wrapped up and overwhelmed in all these changes that we have to make. And that's why I preach so much on small steps, small baby steps at a time that line up. And that is why I'm doing my February challenge in a weekly increment of adding things into your life and making them into habit. And in a month, you'll be doing 4 more things that maybe you weren't doing before. So, he says when he gets really overwhelmed, so in the morning he's writing on a dry erase board, and he says his favorite part is to erase things because we build our weeks and we get so absolutely overwhelmed. So like today, and I do this all the time, and that's why it spoke to me so much, because I do it all the time. Think in the beginning of the week, okay, I have 50 million things to get done last week, and that is where I failed. I won't even say I fell and I got back up from it last week, but I really fell last week in the fact that I got myself so overwhelmed and so engulfed in studying. And somebody had said, you know, you're positive even through the road bump. Well, here's the whole entire thing. That test is this much of my life. This much. And I got so engulfed all week and so obsessed with it that it caused me to go into like this pure panic. And so when I failed the test, I felt relieved afterwards, because it wasn't something that I needed to be fearing throughout this whole entire thing. It was something that I had focused my thoughts on so much. And when I was done with that test, I thought, this is such a small part, because you know what the other big part is? The big part is showing up for my challenge group every single day. The big part is showing up for me every day. The big part is showing up for my husband every day. The big part is showing up for my dog every day. The big part is showing up for my family. The big part is showing up for me and filling my cup every day. That's really what my life surrounds. This test was such a small increment that I made into such a big thing. And that's where my thoughts were focused. So no wonder I was getting overwhelmed. So, you know, he says he lives by this quote of, how do you eat an elephant? Bite by bite. So what is your bite this week? What bite are you going to take out of? So if you are a first time person working out, if you have not worked out in a long time and you want to get back on the wagon, which, you know, I don't believe in the wagon, but if you're getting back on the wagon, then I recommend that you take a small bite. You don't try to change everything all at once, because you will get overwhelmed and you'll just right back where you started. One bite. So if that one bite for you to focus on is to move your body 20 minutes a day. Focus on that. And another thing is we get paralyzed and we don't move and we don't grow and nothing happens. And then he asked this other question. Are you living Groundhog Day every day? And that is kind of the perfect scenario of what I always say, are we so busy being busy? Because are we living the same day over and over and over and over and over and over and again? And do you know what that means when you're living this complacent life of the same thing over and over every day? You're not growing. And you should always, 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 always be growing. So, how do we stop living Groundhog Day? And that is taking one bite from the elephant. 1 week at a time, 1 day at a time, 1 month at a time. Whatever that is for your life, taking these small, tiny steps. So, then he talked about the desire test. What you focus on will dominate your life. Choose to focus on the good. Change your thoughts. So, and he used this part of it. If you focus on everything that's negative about your husband, the problem that's there is going to keep getting bigger, 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 because that's where you're focusing your thoughts. Just as what I did last week, I focused on this test as being such a big thing, and it was really not as big a thing as I had made it out to be. I had made it this huge, 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 huge thing that had taken over my life last week. And that's why I said, I don't want it to take over my life in the next couple of weeks. I need to take a bite out of the elephant, one part at a time. One part at a time, because we can't wake up and be a different person. It's too overwhelming. That's not how that we were made, how we are equipped to just change in one day. It is a slow, steady process of taking bite by bite by bite by bite. So, if you're focusing on the hatred for your body, if you're focusing on all that bad food you ate, if you're focusing on the things that you did not do, the problem just keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger. So my challenge for you this week is to focus on the things that you are doing. So if you say this week, I'm moving my body 3 times out of 7 days for 20 minutes, whether that be a walk, whether that you just got Beachbody on demand, whatever it may be in that situation. And at the end of the week, instead of saying I didn't work out 4 out of the 7 days, say I worked out 3 of the 7 days, and take that and write it down. I put stuff on note cards all the time. Like, I have these little note cards everywhere, and I write my thoughts and I write things that I need to remember. And I carry them around. I put them in front of me. I put them where I'm at. Just like my toll for my non-negotiable things is right in front of me, because I'm in my office every single day. Every single day I'm in my office. Do you know another thing? This planner, this is another tool that I use. It never goes anywhere except sitting on the desk. Because it's always, getting crazy, because it's always in front of me. I know the things that I need to focus on because they're always in front of me, whether it be a note card, whether it be my non-negotiable list, whether it be my planner, so I don't miss something, because those are things that are very important to me. Those are what I value. And we really can't move on to this next step until we realize what is a value in our life. And I think I've shared with you guys the Minimalist podcast. And they talk about all the time. And a minimalist, and I think I've explained this to you before, is not someone that doesn't have anything and just lives off nothing. No. A minimalist is somebody that only has things in their lives that bring them joy or value. Does my oven bring me joy? Not really, but it is value to my life to cook my food. But something like a book brings value and joy to my life. So to not have things in our lives that my laptop computer, it's not a cheap computer, but it brings value to my life because that's how I run my business off of it. My phone, that brings value to my life because that's how I'm able to communicate with my challengers to help people grow. So when we decide what is valuable in our life, my health is valuable to me. Being off depression medication is valuable to me. Hence why I work out every day. Everybody's going to have a different reason for their why. My biggest why is that when I don't work out, I normally end up back at the doctor. I end up back on depression meds because I'm not getting those endorphins. And my doctors over the years have seen it. They're like, okay, what are you not doing that you were doing before that caused you to be in this situation? And it always comes down to exercising. So a big reason that I exercise is not only for the weight loss, it's so I don't need to be on depression medication. So, and then the last thing that he talked about, which was so close to me, is that we become desensitized from things. Because to do something that we know is not adding value and helping us grow in our life, the first time we do it's kind of hard. Like, that's why we beat ourselves up so much about certain things, because we're like, oh, I haven't cheated for this long, so I'm going to beat myself up. Instead of just giving yourself grace and hopping back on, we get stuck. And that's what I wanted to talk about. When somebody loses 20, 30 pounds and they plateau, so they then go backwards, but why wouldn't you push through that plateau so you can get to the next 30, even if that's a month or two? Because remember, this is a lifestyle, but we end up quitting because we think that we failed because nothing's happening. Well, nothing's going to happen if you quit and you go backwards. So it becomes easier to continuously eat those things that aren't fueling us and only filling us. It becomes easier to do these things because we've now been desensitized to it. Well, we did it once, let's do it again. You know, so those are the couple things that I wanted to start you off with on this week, to really think about what is adding value to your life. Why is working out adding value to your life? How is that going to change your life? How is that going to help you grow? How is your personal development? If you have not picked out personal development and started doing it, I really recommend it. It is a life-changing thing. I journal. I never journaled in my whole entire life. Ever. When I started journaling and doing personal development and really writing down my thoughts and writing cards down and talking to myself, positive self-affirmations to myself, it was a whole realm of change for myself, because it was so uncomfortable that I'd never done it before, but it changed so many things in such a positive way for me. So, you know, how you wonder why I can stay positive, how I can get through it. I changed my thoughts. I do not let my thoughts run me. I run my thoughts. I decide what I'm going to do, what my non-negotiables are, and what am I going to make a big deal, and what am I going to just kind of let to the side. Because if we focus on that one mistake, that one thing, it runs our whole entire life then. Instead of saying, you know what, I'm a human being, I mess up sometimes, I fell, and getting back on the wagon, whatever, getting back up and doing what you need to do to have this big, valuable, fulfilling life. Or are you going to have Groundhog Day every day and continue to do the same things, even though you know the results that you're going to get, you know, and that is why this journey is so much deeper than just working out. This journey is so much deeper than just eating healthy. You know, you find all of these changes and happening and these things in your heart that you didn't even realize were happening until you're faced with this. And I think that is why I can personally say the struggle sucks. The struggle really, really sucks, but I love the struggle, because every time I look back at the struggle, I learned, I grew so much. So even though this was a struggle, I know that there is such a learning part out of this, and there is somewhere that I'm growing because I'm doing something different than I ever did before. So of course I'm going to struggle. Of course I'm going to practice. Of course it's going to be new. But I just want to encourage you that if you don't keep pushing through, you're never going to get to the other side. So you're going to go back to Groundhog Day all over again. So how do you eat an elephant? Don't forget, one bite at a time, one day at a time, one workout at a time, one meal at a time, one thing at a time. Don't overwhelm yourself, and don't worry yourself with things that you really don't need to worry about. I hope you guys have a great day. I'm going to get organized and get my day started. Well, finished. Whatever. I've been going since 8, but, you know, love you guys.